And she died in a very unusual way because she had been in all these cancer treatment centers, and no one would come home. They're all holding on to hope so much, and I don't blame them. But they're so afraid that they might die, they don't get a moment to live. What became clear to us was that not only should life begin at home, life should end at home. Jarvis is the corner man, where the golden gloves train. The sport's long passed him by, but his love for it remains. He was something in his younger days, the best in these parts. He had the tools of a champion, but he never had the heart. Now he always wonders what if. Each night he locks up that gym and regrets that he never left the trunk and went out on a limb.
So if you're going to incorporate any garden, think about incorporating a summer to a fall garden versus a spring to a summer garden, okay? 3, maximize the growing season with cold and warm weather crops.
My name is Tom Whiting. I'm from Colorado, and I have a small company called Whiting Farms, unimaginatively. So I'm going to give you a talk on plumage genetics and a very small little niche business that I happen to be engaged in. But why I'm here at McMurray is they invited me, and it was a chance to come here and see them. I think I bought my first McMurray chicks when I was about 11 years old in '67. And I remember agonizing over the order, 1 of these, 2 of these, and 5 of these. You know, I just tortured myself. But my introduction to chickens largely was from that catalog, and I bet you if you gave me the 1967 catalog, I can tell you what's on the next page. So, you know, I wore that thing out. So that's kind of how I got into chickens.
You can take those acorns and feed those out in the fall. Young and developing immunity. So why are we doing that? Why do we have the sense that we need to protect baby chicks while they are small from the things in the outside world?
So she convinced me to start looking into it, or it wasn't for me at that time, right? And then no one should ever butcher 200 meat chickens at one time. That's not a thing. I don't know why he even thought that was a possibility.
Thank you. It's amazing to be here. And thank you, Tom, for helping to organise all this event. And I'm meeting so many wonderful people already. So it feels really special because it's not every day I go to talk in the States. In fact, this might be the first one. So, not the last, I hope. I want to share some of the things I've learned over decades and simplify them down into 1 hour. Because actually no-dig is very simple, and it's linked to a very nice saying, which is, it's not what you know, it's what you understand.
Hey everybody, we are Coffee with the Chicken Ladies, and we are a podcast for people who absolutely love chickens.
They were like 3 and 4, and we were like, they need chores. Maybe we should buy some chickens for them to take care of, right?
Never expect perfection when it comes to chores. I don't know any one of my 7 children that does their chores exactly the way I expect every time. All I expect is for them not to regress in their skills. I just want to see a little bit of growth rather than perfection.
The 3 main fence types are temporary or portable fences.
Again, this is a young chicken seed, so between the ages of 3 to 8 weeks is typically the most susceptible.
Great drip tape systems, and they have kits for gardeners like you and I that have small gardens.
lived in the city, standard, American diet and everything, and we kind of fell in love with, let's start growing our own food, and it started when I just turned 30 and I got diagnosed with cancer, Hodgkin's lymphoma, and from there it just snowballed into where we're at today. So a stationary coop, it took me probably a good 5 years to build a stationary coop because we didn't know where we wanted to put it. It's permanent. And just being patient and using movable coops instead. But when I eventually built a stationary coop, we started homesteading and growing our own food, and my daughter was 4 years old. And so it was important for us to, we wanted to be involved in collecting eggs. Still today, she's the egg-laying chickens, that's her job.
The front of this bottle says Pure Honey U.S. Grade A. So you look at that as a consumer and you're like, okay, great, this is U.S. honey, excellent. Except for the part where you go to the back and it says product of Argentina and India. Okay, so labels are very deceiving. So also if you're seeing honey that's labeled organic, LOL. There's no such thing as organic honey because first of all, how can you even track what a bee is bringing in? You can't, okay? So if it's labeled organic, it's not U.S. honey.
Kitchen scraps is, of course, leafy greens are best, vegetables are best, low sugar fruit. I'm going to show you how to grow sprouts. This would be in the second tier, but honestly, you can give them access to as many sprouts as they want. Usually they won't overeat them, but so that would be in the second tier.
And hung and left up. I know a lot of people will peel their garlic back. I do not. I leave it exactly what it is. I cure it like that, I brush off the dirt, I hang it, and it goes up just like that. That's the way I do it. And that's the way many people do it.
One of the things that works really well for me with this one particular rooster named Turkey, because they're poly plastic, they stick in the ground, they're really lightweight. They're super easy to have at the doorway to your coop, right? Now you can you're not gonna beat him with it. You're just gonna direct him with it. And so you're gonna push him a little bit here or there if he's in the way, get him out of the way.
To see that focus on the stock no matter what's going on. So we're gonna start with Josh and taking Ben. So Ben again is 5 months old and he is going to be Josh's future working dog. So at 5 months old, we don't have a lot of high expectations. So if we go out and we want to intentionally work with him in the livestock, all we're going to do is keep him on a leash and walk around. And they're just going to follow the livestock. So all this does is it helps teaches the calmness.
And if they're connected to your garden, they're going to be in your garden. Whereas this with the netting can be right up against your garden, and you're not going to, it's not going to hurt anything. So you have the power to control it. And this uses about 7 to 10 acres for 1,000 layers because you're able to move it in a more dense spot. And again, when we get to the weed birds, we're going to be talking about the manure drop and the rotation. Just a different look at it. This is just the X-bracing truss. With the birds walking up the top with their catwalk. They've got roosts in there, and then we can gather the eggs at the top.
Kind of fun story. Jess from Roots of Refuge just flew in and is in love with Charles Dowding. And Charles Dowding is kind of fanboying over Jess from Roots of Refuge. So we're gonna kind of capture that moment here. We're ready, Rachel and I. It's gonna be epic.
So this is our 8th season doing it.
Oh wow.
Okay.
It's so good. Oh, thank you.
Well, I did,
thrilled to find out you were coming because, I had all my ideas of coming there, but I never imagined you were coming here, so it's really cool.
Oh, there's already many doors actually coming here as well.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm so glad.
I want to meet Ben as well.
Yes. How old is he now? He's 9 now. He's my youngest, and when he was 3, he got so on your videos. And we would, for about a year and a half, we watched him every night before bed.
Oh no, you sent me that before.
Yeah, and he would set up for lunch. He would set the phone up, and he'd say, "I gotta watch Charles Dowding." And then he would say, "Charles Dowding's a real man, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah," because he couldn't determine between like fiction TV and not.
Yeah, right.
And he's a real man. He's like, "So we could see him someday," and I'm like, "Yeah, I bet we will." So it's so cool. She's so cool. I'm so glad you're here.
I had no idea that ticks.
Homemade compost that has got weed seeds. Don't worry about it, because you can deal with it using methods like this. So with little weed seedlings, the trick is to go and look for them. You actually need to go and look for weeds, not wait until they kind of hit you in the face.
Get into all kinds of trouble. That's going to pinch the blade, and anytime the blade is pinched, it's going to throw either the wood or the saw back into us. And so, again, there's a reason that, I'm setting myself up the way that I am. Now I can very confidently go right up to my line, put my battery back in. And ta-da!
Oh, thank you. So I did pull an all-nighter. I've slept about an hour, so today's and yesterday is gonna feel like the longest day of my life. But you are worth it, and I would do it again.
There are people who are going to ask you, and you have a connection with them. How are you doing? Tell them the truth. Tell them the truth. Talk about how you're feeling. Another thing that I was thinking about as far as building community is that community is costly. It costs something to be the person spearheading community. And what I mean by that is time, okay? One of my most valuable resources right now is time. Time with my wife, time with my kids, time with my friends, time for myself. I have to decide if I'm going to do something that's going to host, build community, be vulnerable with people that are essentially strangers, I've got to sacrifice that time. And we built a very vibrant community. Why? People ask us, well, I don't have that where you're at. I'm like, listen, I just showed up in a place where we knew nobody. There were some fans, but that's not the same thing as we are community now, but we weren't community just because they watched our YouTube channel. That's a version of community, but it's not the local community, which is what we're challenging you guys to push into.
We're taught to choose as a response or a reaction rather than an initiative. My initiative in this relationship has nothing to do with his choice of me. If you've been married very long and you've been through some stuff, especially you came into the situation with baggage, there's times that other person may not be choosing you. Love is a verb, it's an action. And so if you are going to love your community, you choose them. You host the thing and do the thing because of your choice of it, because of your conviction of it, because of the value you place in it. And I promise you that will attract people who have that same value for it. And then they're going to come with their choice. And you don't have to hold the door open for them.
I think one of the things that things like this, events like this, really help us to stop and really think about what's most important to us. And that's what this song is really about. And I want to encourage you as you're listening down to think about the things that are most important to you.